Hi, this is Ashley with Court Reserve. Today I'm going to take you through a mini webinar on the new split court cost. There is some setup that we need to go through and some things for you to consider if your organization would like for your court fees to be split based on membership type. So the first thing that we need to do is go to Settings, Reservation Settings, and decide which reservation types you would like to split. So we have our doubles and singles here, so let's take a look. If I go over and edit, so if you already have a singles reservation and you would like for it to calculate the fee for each player, you simply need to check this box. That's the only box you need to check. But you need to do this for each reservation type. So if you want singles and doubles, make sure you go back and check both singles and doubles. Now, another setting that you make sure that you have set already would be your cost setup for your courts. So you come down to Booking Settings and you click the Cost button. This can be done per membership type. And so if we hop over here, we have our hard courts and indoor courts. We have our court cost set per membership type as fees for each individual. So you've got your hard prices here, your indoor prices here, and we have ours at an hourly rate. Okay, so make sure those are set up per membership type. Now the next setting that you want to consider would be over under Settings, Portal Settings, Setup. You want to scroll all the way down, and it should be the newest setting here that says New. And this says allow members to change guest owner on member portal. What this means is that when your member goes to book a court, let's say it's a doubles reservation, you are allowing your members to choose which member is responsible for which guest. And this is a great setting for those of you who have members who bring guests and you want them to bring guests to your organization. Your guest fees are already set up at that reservation type that we just checked the box for, calculate fee by player. But know that if you check this box, if your member has a credit on their member account, then if the guest fee, if they've been assigned that guest, that will actually pay for that guest fee. So we just want you to be aware that just make sure you read this little, the question mark here. Make sure you read the blue box and make sure you understand that if your member has a balance and the guest fee is applied to that member account, if there's a credit, it will be auto-paid. Okay, let's go over to the expanded scheduler on the admin side and make a reservation and see what that looks like now. So we're going to Court 2, we're going to reserve. It's a court reservation. And we are going to use our new split for doubles. So doubles by player. This is a 2-hour reservation, 10:30 to 12:30. Once I start typing in player names, you will see each member and their associated court cost. So we've got first member Sarah Seal, her court cost is $10. Here's our next member and his court cost. Here's our next member and his court cost. And of course, we also do tax here, but it depends on if you put taxes on reservations or not. Now let's also put a guest. This is a new column. It says guest owner. This is going to be who is responsible for this guest or who's bringing this guest for this reservation. So we'll attach it to Sarah. Now there's a new column as well that says fee owner. Who is going to be responsible for paying for this guest fee? Is it going to be member Sarah Seal or will it actually be the guests themselves? This can be modified once you get to the payment screen and I will show you that, but we'll go ahead and put it as the member here. Here, this is just the regular guest fee that's associated with the reservation type. And so we're going to save. And now you see our reservation here. If you would like to learn more about this reservation, of course, we've got our unpaid button here or to initiate fees. Now, take a look here. we've got our three members, Barb, Joey, and Sarah, all of their own individual court costs set up by membership type. And then we've got our guest, George. Sarah is the owner of Guest George, and Sarah has indicated she's going to pay for George's court fee. So let's go ahead and take care of looking at what this looks like for Sarah. So if Sarah comes in and wants to pay, we simply click the blue pay button. Now you can see this account, this is Sarah Seal's account, and we have two fees, the guest fee for George and Sarah's own court fee. Now, of course, if you go in and need to modify the fee amount, you can simply click on the pencil, just like before, and then you can override this fee. Now, if you get to the payment desk, or if they come up to the payment desk and Sarah says, you know, George has decided he's going to pay for his own guest fee, then you can simply unclick George's fee here and go ahead and cash out Sarah, whether it's cash or credit, whatever that looks like. Click Save. And now Sarah Seal's member court fee has been paid, but your guest still needs to pay. So now you can come back in, click the pay button. Now George is going to pay for his own guest fee. Cash, save. Now you can see that Sarah and George have both been paid, and then you can take care of paying for Barb and Joey, because these, of course, are members at the club like normal. So that's how the payment screen works. Of course, you can still do check-in, and you can still do receipts from this view as well. So just in case you need to know what the override looks like, if we go up here to Barb and click Pay, and we need to modify Barb's fee amount, we simply click on the pencil. We can put in the new fee amount, save changes, and an override would be indicated on her payment screen. Now it's a $5 charge. We're going to go ahead and cash Barb out. Once we do that, we go back to the payment screen. The triangle initiates that there was an overridden, that the charge was changed. Okay, again, if you are a public-facing club, it might be helpful to see if you have 4 guests that come into your organization, what that might look like. So we'll just click Reserve on Court 3, and let's just do singles this time. So if we start searching for players, Jenny's not in as a player currently in our organization, so we're going to go ahead and add her here. And again, this is very easy if you needed to add someone that's not in the organization along with other members. Okay, so now we have our 2 guests that have walked into the club. They are not members of your club, but now it was easy to add them into the organization. We have assigned them memberships based on what you want to do. We've got a 2-hour court reservation. Those fees are split here. Once we click Save, now it works the very same way. Jenny and Barry are now responsible for their own court fees. So if I click on Jenny here, Pay, then you could do this as we've shown you already. Now from a member standpoint, if you wanted to look up a member that has already paid or wants to know more information, what's on their member account, you can simply look up the member as always. And once we get over to the billing information, you'll see that we do have the paid fees tab here. We did pay for a guest fee, so you'll see that the fee is indicated now when there is a guest fee, doubles by player guest fee. So that's the name of our reservation type, and then the guest fee. So Sarah paid cash for this guest fee, and then she also paid for herself on this. Okay, and so if you use invoicing or batch billing in Court Reserve, you can also see the guest fees on those invoices. So we're on the member account, we're on the billing info, we have the invoice tab, and we're going to simply click View. And you can see here the reservations types, and then if we click Invoice Breakdown, you'll actually be able, and the player, your member, will actually be able to see when they were responsible and paid for a guest fee, and that name of the guest on the account as well. Okay. So the reservation type, doubles by player, that's just what we've called it. So now again, we are on the member side. So we already have the member making the reservation's name here, and this is that court fee. Notice the court fee with tax shows up here as the total due. Now we're going to add another player. This is another member of the organization. This also pops up with their own court fee by membership type. Notice this total did not change because now the member making the reservation is only responsible for their court fee. So now we're going to actually put in two guests. So now we have two guests, and now we're going to select the guest owner. So who is responsible for this guest? We're going to put one to the first member making the reservation, and the second one to the second member on the reservation. Notice that the fee did change because now the member making the reservation is responsible for their own court fee and the first guest fee. Now this organization requires court fees to be paid within 15 minutes of the reservation. I just want to point out that if you did not check the box in order to let your members be responsible for what member was going to pick the guest, or the box that we did on the general setting or the portal settings, then your member will not have that extra box here that will actually determine what member is bringing what guest. This would indicate that the member is going to be paying for both guests, and there is not an option. So again, if you don't check the box to let the members pick which guest or which members are responsible for which guest, then your screen will look like this. So if I click Save, here we have the reservation confirmation reserved for 2 members and then 2 guests and the total due. This total is of course due for the member making the reservation and the first guest. When I click Pay Now, so I can come in here now and see the court fee, the guest fee, go ahead with my card or with the card on file and go ahead and pay for this transaction as the member. I can then go over to my billing tab or under my profile billing and go ahead and see these paid fees as well. Here's the receipt for this transaction, as well as I should get an email receipt for this transaction. So now the member has already paid for 1 court fee and 1 guest fee, but now they've entered the club and they need to continue paying for the other member fee and the guest fee. So again, this works just like it did before. We're going to click on Pay. Now there's an option for the member to pay for their court fee as well as the guest fee, or if we just want to pay for the member fee, we just take that guest fee off by clicking the box here. Go ahead and cash your member out. Now notice that the member who is responsible for this guest, well, they are still the fee owner at this point. So when we click Pay, now we know that this is actually going to be paid by the guest. We can go ahead and cash this guest out. But it also allows you as an admin to run reporting for guests and see what members brought your guest in. If we truly didn't have any way to track that, the guest report wouldn't do you much good. But we keep that on there so that you can see what member brought what guest to your organization. So now let's talk about refunds. If a paid fee needs to be refunded, it can now be refunded to the guest in the form of cash. So if we go to Transactions and go to Refunds, we will see the Pending Refunds tab. Here, because of rain, we have canceled this reservation. Remember that one member paid for both the member and the guest, and then cash was used for one member and one guest. So if we go into the first member that made the reservation, she paid with a credit card. We're going to accept this credit card refund, and we can actually now give it back to the credit card she used, her balance, or in cash. So once we do this, save, now she's been refunded back to credit card. So we see here that this payment type was made by cash by one of the members. If we accept this, we can now either give the member back a balance or credit balance or in cash. Again, we have the guest, accept, We can now put this back on the credit card because, of course, the member paid for this guest with her credit card, so we'll just put this back on her credit card. And then we have this last guest that paid for his own guest fee with cash, and we can accept this. We can give him a credit balance at the organization or actually give him his cash back. Now here's another example of when charges or fees were paid for because of a credit balance on the member's account. You can see here that Sarah Seal, the member, paid with a balance, and there was a guest fee that was also paid with the balance. When we go in to accept this refund, now we have the option of putting it back towards the balance or giving a cash refund. Now we'll go over to the transaction list report. We're going to check show only paid transactions, and as we scroll down, you'll see the refund to cash was used here. The category of the reservation also indicates the guest fee, and it also indicates which player was the guest with the G beside the player's name. If we click on a member's account and the All Transactions tab, you can now see where refunds have been placed and which ones were for that guest fee as well, and actually what that guest name was in the member record detail. I hope that this mini webinar on split court cost has been helpful. If you would like additional help or have questions, please reach out to our live support team. You can reach us by this green box up here in the top right hand corner. You could also read all about the new release on our release notes. And don't forget, our knowledge base is located here. You can simply click and enter in keywords for any articles or videos that you may need help on.